Hey guys, my name is Xti and this is a Fire Mage PvP guide. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but I'm going to be going over traits, glyphs, reforging, and how to burst properly. Now, let's go to talents. For level 15 talents, you want Blazing Speed, Presence of Mind in some situations, some comps, but otherwise Blazing Speed is your best bet. For level 30, you want Ice Barrier unless you're going for a burst comp that might suddenly switch to you or whatever else. The reason why you want Temporal Shield for high bursting is because it heals you for 100% of the damage for 4 seconds. So if you're getting bursted for the first 4 seconds, even if your healer's DC, you'll just get healed right back up. For Ice Barrier is good because it gives you a huge damage. So if they're switching to you every once in a while, or if they're off dotting you or something like that, then you can use Ice Barrier just to block the damage. Level 45, you want Frost Jaw or Ring of Frost. That also depends on your comp. Ice Ward is not good at all. It's just like another root, which isn't that good. Frost Jaw is good because it silences and freezes the target in place. It counts as a root, but it also silences people. So that means if you do it to a mage, they can't blink out, and then you can blow them up. Ring of Frost is good if you have Presence of Mind, or if you don't get Presence of Mind, Ring of Frost is still good because you can freeze someone in place, or Ring of Frost them to get them frozen like a deep freeze, and then you can, blow them up. Level 60, it's Cold Snap, not really the other two. Categorize is okay if you have Ice Block, but if you don't, you're screwed. Great Invisibility is cool, but it takes 1.5 minutes, and it's just not as good as Cold Snap. That's pretty much it. Cold Snap heals you for 30% of your health, and it instantly refreshes all of your ice spells, which is like Ice Block, Frost Nova, and stuff like that, which is really good. Can be used while CC'd. Level 75. For the bombs, you want Living Bomb as fire. I think you want Living Bomb as pretty much everything now. But Living Bomb will obviously be your best bet. It deals fire damage, and we specialize in fire damage, and yeah, so it'd be your best bet. Level 90 is Encounter's Ward. Everything else isn't good. Rune of Power, the only way it's good is if you can stand in place, and we all know you can't do that. Invocation, it makes you regen 50% of your less mana, which is also not good. But it's okay, but if you have the glyph of evocation, then it won't heal as much. Let's go to the glyphs. Glyphs is a glyph of Ice Block, which is automatically amazing. Glyph of Deep Freeze and Glyph of Armors. That's what I have. You, of course, can get Combustion. You can get Infernal Blast and, whatever else. But for Fire, if you want to try to go high tier, you want Glyph of Deep Freeze so it doesn't activate the global cooldown for your spells. So right after you Deep Freeze, you can blow them up. Ice Block is the best because it makes you immune to all spells for 3 seconds, and it does a free Frost Nova. Glyph of Armors increases the effectiveness of what the armor does by 10%, and it reduces the cast time. Excuse me. With the extra 10%, it reduces all physical damage by 10%, by 16% for molten armor, but before it would only be 7. With frozen armor, the slow originally would be 30%, now it's 40, and with major armor, originally duration of harmful effects reduced by originally 25, and now it's 35. So it's just awesome all around. Now, let's go over Reforging. Reforging is pretty simple. You want as much haste and crit as you can possibly get, favoring crit over haste, but in some situations, you'll get both. I haven't reforged my stuff because I'm poor, but on my helmet, I would obviously get the haste instead of mastery. You don't need mastery at all. You definitely want haste and crit or forge out of mastery. But obviously, if you have mastery left, it won't hurt you. For the weapons, you want the sword and dagger, or dagger and offhand. The reason being why mages don't take 2 hands, I'm sure a lot of people that want to play mage and want to use the 2-hand will be asking for PvP, is simply because you can enchant 2 things instead of just 1. If you had a staff, you'll only be able to enchant, Jade Spirit or Windsong on it. But if you have the sword and offhand, if I had the money, you can enchant this to give you more intellect. So that's pretty much the only reason why people go sword offhand instead of the instead of the 2-hander staff. Now, let's go over the burst. Burst is pretty simple. I'm not gonna really go over the opener because opener is pretty reasonably easy. But anyways, for a burst, you just want to make sure Living Bomb's up. Wait till you get there you go. Now, you want to burst while you have Pyroblast. If you can burst while you have Pyroblast, it's amazing. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you do alter time while you have it too. Then you can just blow people up, and you automatically will have another pyroblast at the end of your burst. That's the whole thing. It copies everything, and since pyroblast proc is a buff, when you switch back from it, it will automatically be a buff also. So that means you'll automatically have another pyroblast even after you burst, and which is great because since it also resets your trinket, you'll have all this extra damage. You'll have nothing really to throw it into, to try to get some extra damage out if you do without it. Now with me, I only use combustion as when I'm doing it. You can use it before, it's up to you, but for me, I only use it when I'm doing it because it's just a lot easier just to get the free Inferno Blast so you can, make another crit happen. But yeah, Fire Mage damage is pretty simple. It's a pretty easy class. If anyone's sitting on you, zoom away. When they charge at you or stun you, blink. Make sure you keep your shields up, which is another thing. You want to use both your shields at the same time. I see a lot of mages in arenas trying to use it separately when it's not made for that. Basically, if you do this 115 and then what is 34, now you have 140,000 shield instead of just 115 and then a 30 shield. You understand? It's a huge difference when you're playing, simply because if you just using Counter Score, that's what, like one attack? That's like 2 attacks for me. Not even. That's just one Scorch and that bubbles off. Even though what it does is great, you still want to try to use it as much as a defensive ability as a passive attacking ability because of all the passive does. But yeah, guys, my name is XTI. This was just a quick guide to Fire Mage. I'm out.